Today's video is groundbreaking. They're coming for seniors. The blame game exposed. You aren't either. You're not the same person you were when you were 20 and 30. And it's usually the mom that gets it. It just is. Dads are getting it too. I understand. But in so many cases, the dad can walk off scot-free, but the mom's going to get it. Oh, yeah. She's going to get smacked around a little bit emotionally, right? It's not like we turned 65 or 70 and somehow now we're statues and we're monuments that people can come up to and wag their finger at. No, we're living, breathing people who have blood flowing through our veins. And we have feelings. Watching this, there's so many good nuggets in here that as you're watching it, if something comes to mind, type it in comments and send it. You can even pause the video and then send it. And as you're watching it all the way through, if something comes to mind, because this is good stuff, leave me another comment. You can leave me 100 comments if you want to, okay? Let's get started with this. Let's go. Watch it all the way to the end. There's really good stuff in here, okay? Let's go. The moment it happens, when your grown children suddenly analyze your parenting, and your parenting is most likely way back from the Reagan era. The shock of having decades-old decisions put on trial. This phenomenon has a pattern. You're not imagining things. And guess what? I've experienced it from both sides, and I am hearing that you have too. Well, I just finished the book. The Blame Game. That's what I'm going to talk about here. And I finished it a couple weeks ago. It's on Amazon. And I've been working on it for a couple years because I've experienced it from both sides with my parents and now with my children. And I have 4 of them. So I'm getting it 4 times, right? So, but there's a difference going on now. And it is quite the phenomenon. And this is a groundbreaking book where I deal with what's happening, why it's happening, examples of how it's happening, why it's not good for anybody in a family situation, in the family unit of all the different generations, and how to stop the game, stop playing the game, and getting along without ruining your relationship with your family. Okay, so there's a rhyme and reason to all this, so don't go anywhere, okay? I had issues with my parents. Oh my gosh, I did. But they were from a different era also. My parents were the silent generation. Well, I had a lot of issues with the parenting. I really did. I mean, there are things that really did shape me on who I am. So what I did with my family, and I bet a lot of you did it too. I'm not talking about major abuses, okay? I'm talking about just the normal, decisions that parents make. They seemingly meant well, but they really wasn't maybe good for the human mind, and they were shaping them in the wrong direction. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so what I did was I fixed what I felt were my complaints. So when it came to my children, I fixed them. But here's the issue. They came up with different problems. So I fixed what I thought would make them better humans when they grew up, better adults, and they would have a more fun childhood. I mean, parents can't win. Every generation seems to have a new playbook. This just proves that the cycle of blame never ends, only until you decide not to play the game anymore. And that's what we're going to talk about. Okay, so who are these people putting their senior parents on trial? It's mainly Gen X and some millennials. So I want to read just a little bit of what's going on with them. And here's the issue with generations. They're different each as they cycle through. They're a little bit different, but there's main passages that certain age groups, decades, go through. So all through different civilizations and centuries, the 40s and the 50s, that group is going to go through very similar situations mentally and physically. So let's get into that. So here's for just now. Gen X were told they could have it all. Big careers, families, and financial success, right? Then reality hit. In 2008, we had the financial crash. And that affected everybody, but it definitely affected them because they were kind of just getting started. Corporate layoffs, automation, job security isn't what they expected. And this is something for all of the centuries. When you hit around 40, they realize that what they thought it was going to be like, they thought they'd be much further ahead. And what they thought it was going to be like, reality does hit. And they're not as far along as they should be. They felt they should be. And they're a little bit disappointed at that age. And then, of course, for now, we've got the rising cost of living. They thought they'd be thriving, but are barely keeping up. Not all. So now, instead of blaming the economy or the bad luck, they're blaming their parents for not only things from their childhood, but their disappointment. And I believe that they're kind of turning their blame and their anger onto their parents, because they seem to be a little bit miserable from what I've seen. How many of you are experiencing that? Let me know in comments. Let me mention that as you're watching this, there's so many good nuggets in here, that as you're watching it, if something comes to mind, type it in comments and send it. You can even pause the video and then send it. And as you're watching it all the way through, if something comes to mind, because this is good stuff, leave me another comment. You can leave me 100 comments if you want to, okay? But send it and let me know. I really want to know, because I know a lot of you are seniors. And if you are Gen X, or you are millennial or Gen Z, or what, even if you're still in the silent generation, you're still here, kudos to you. I want to hear what you have to say. And this is in no way dumping on a certain generation. There are reasons why this is happening. But my goal is to make sure that we can all start getting along. One generation doesn't have to be dumped on, and the other generation doesn't have to be thought of and just ignored then because, well, you're hurting my feelings. No, I want this all to be encapsulated, and let's all get along. So leave me comments. I really want to know about this. Like I said, they're coming for the seniors. The blame game exposed. Woo! The phenomenon hits when adult children reach between 35 and 45 and 50. Okay? So it's called the midlife reflection and identity. People in this age group often reassess their life choices, their careers, relationships, and personal identity. They're saying, who am I now? And am I on the right path? And these are common internal problems and questions that this age group is asking, this Gen X and some millennials. Their financial and their career stability. And in most eras, this age group is at the peak of their career or reevaluating their work-life balance. They may worry about job security, retirement, savings, and making a career change before it's too late. It's that in-between midlife thing that happens. And they can become quite unhappy. Did you go through this? I want to know in comments. If you're a senior, did you go through this? Because I did. I remember it quite well. It's not an easy time being in your 40s. And then, of course, they've got the physical signs of aging, and they're worried about it. And especially in this era where looks are so important. I mean, your teeth must be perfect. I mean, I've had people actually mention about my teeth. You know, well, I'm from the boomer age. I didn't even know that floss was even available till I turned 18. And I've talked to other seniors also. We didn't know, and it wasn't in our house. And the friends who I've talked to about this, they're not from poor families. They're from upper middle class families. It wasn't as important, but now teeth must be perfect, no wrinkles, hair perfect. Oh my, Oy vey schmear. Yeah. So the 40s are really going through this, and they're starting to age just a little bit. They're noticing some wrinkles showing, and gray hair is starting to appear. Many start prioritizing health, fitness, and diet more seriously. There can be fears about longevity, illness, and mortality. Yeah. This is the age where all this really comes to focus. Because when you're 20 and then even in your 30s, you feel pretty much immortal. Nothing's ever going to happen to you. But when 40 hits, yeah. Okay. Divorce and remarriage are common themes. And a lot of them end up having a second family. So they often take care of aging parents, leading to the sandwich generation struggle. So anyways, this is what the Gen X and the Millennials are all about right now. It's this passage of that age group. Research shows that 68% of these grown children, this age group, are reassessing their relationship with their parents. How did their parents affect their lives and their whole psyche, their whole mental capacity, and their future? How did the parents shape their future? Did they cripple them, or did they encourage them? And I guarantee that most of us seniors, we did both. Most of us did both. We did cripple them in certain areas because that was a sign of the times. There wasn't, we were playing by a different rule book, a different playbook. We were more Dr. Spock, and some of us didn't even read Dr. Spock. We could have cared less. But some of them did read Dr. Spock. And now all of this flourishing therapy going on, childhood trauma, emotional neglect, all of these things are coming to light. These phrases are being thrown out there at us. So tell me what you think in comments. And here's part of my issue. Let's go into the seniors. What are they going through when we, as a group and through all generations and civilizations and centuries, what do seniors go through between 65 and 90? What is this age group going through? Now, I'd like to actually go even further and say maybe 65 to 75. Maybe 75 to 85. But here's the issue, because I do have a psychology degree plus a sociology degree. Most studies in the past, back there, most of the studies, they've studied childhood development and teenager development. And then as time has moved forward, what they've done is they've added on. You got the young adults, you got the 30s, and you got the 40s. But the seniors have not really been studied. We're not just static people. As we grow, as we get older, we're actually growing in different cycles also, different passages through our life. Now, a lot of people, they pass away around in their 70s, but there are still a lot of people that are still moving on. And studies on this age group has rarely been done. So it's not like we turn 65 or 70 and somehow now we're statues and we're monuments that people can come up to and wag their finger at. No, we're living, breathing people who have blood flowing through our veins, and we have feelings. And so I'm going to talk about how this is affecting the seniors. Okay, so why it hits so hard for the seniors being on trial? Well, for us, and this is, I know you've heard of Erickson in psychology. A lot of people quote him, and he was very important. So what happens is that during this time, we have a versus going on. We have integrity versus despair going on in the senior years. So after decades of dedication and sacrifice for these same children, now they're coming to us and they're putting us on trial. They're going over all the infractions and they're listing them to the parents. And I know this is going on because a lot of my friends are telling me this. They're feeling it too. So there's this feeling of being reduced to just your parenting limitations. You know, I have become much more successful after 60. I am in no way, I am not the same person, and I know you aren't either. You're not the same person you were when you were 20 and 30 or 40, raising children and teenagers and young adults, guiding them. You're not the same person. You're different now. We're different. Let me continue. And so there's a special vulnerability of the 70 plus generation. And there is an impact on our emotional health and our physical health. It's stressing us out. It's creating higher blood pressure, heart palpitations, mental depression. If you have to have everything when we're senior citizens put in front of us, a list of infractions that we did during the Reagan era, which had a different playbook, that's not good for us health-wise. Now, why are Gen X and Millennials doing this to their senior parents when as boomers, we didn't do this? I would say 99% of the boomers did not run to their senior parents, that silent generation, and put in a list in front of them and say, you're guilty. Why did you do this? And why did you do that? And why did you do this? And we need to talk about this because you've created childhood trauma. We didn't do that, did we? Leave me in comments how you feel about that. Did you do that? I had a list. Oh yeah. But you know what? I didn't go to them. I didn't do it. I respected them more, and I was a little bit more afraid of them too. I mean, my mother would have said, if you watch yesterday's video, the last video that I did, when I was a teenager, I went on and I tried to do it when I was 16. Your generation, you messed up. You're messing up everything. And my mom looked at me. She put the book down. She says, you better watch your mouth, young lady. Okay, I knew. Yeah, there was a respect. And why would I want to stress them out? They're senior citizens now. But that's not happening. These younger generations are coming to the parents and wagging their fingers. They want to talk about every little thing. They feel that it's to have an honest relationship. All these things need to be brought out in the open and the light shined on them and say, what about this, Mom? And it's usually the mom that gets it. It just is. Dads are getting it too, I understand. But in so many cases, the dad can walk off scot-free, but the mom's going to get it. Oh, yeah. She's going to get smacked around a little bit emotionally, right? Younger generations, they're in the therapy generation. Yeah, they're getting therapy. There's a lot more pharmaceuticals out that they can take, the Xanax and all those. I don't even know what they are. I've never taken medications. I don't ever want to take medications. I had acid reflux, and that was the only time I was ever put on medication. No, twice. Okay, I will mention twice. This is an offshoot. I had, when I was younger, I think I was in my 40s, and I was having panic attacks. Hello? I mean, that's the age, right? And so I finally went to the doctor, and she put me on Paxil. It was a new drug, I took it once, and I sat in the chair like a zombie, and I never took it again. About 5 years later, there was a class action suit. Thank God I did not actually keep going with that. I don't like medications. That was my first bout with a medication. And so, yeah, the class action suit, that it was a killer. Another one, too, is acid reflux. They put me on I forget what the name of it was. It started with an R. I didn't like it. I figured I got to get my own body to do what it's supposed to do, right? Well, what happened was, again, about 10 years later, class action suit. So I'm not into the medications. You all can take them. If you are taking them, I'm not going to put you down for it. But for me, no. No, I don't want them, okay? So we got the therapy culture versus traditional respect. So the boomers are more the traditional respect. And then we've got the Gen X that are more the therapy culture. Parenting standards have changed dramatically through the years. The seniors are being judged by standards that weren't even available at that time that we were parenting. And let me make this clear. This might be a long one, folks. Let me make this clear. when you're a parent, how old are you? How old was I? My first child was born when I was 25, okay? Well, so from 25 to 40, whatever, and then my youngest son was born when I turned 40. Yeah, he was a late baby. So in my parenting, I was still a child. And even my parents, the silent generation, I mean, they had babies when they were 17 and 18 years old. They were babies, weren't they? So we're going to judge people by the standards of when they were almost children themselves, trying to do the best that they could. I know there was a lot of abuse out there. There really was. And so I'm not talking about mainly those things. Those things do have to be addressed, okay? But here's an issue. In my case, and I've talked to my friends, I'm of the understanding, because I'm more of a hippie type, and yeah, I'm a little bit more, obviously I have a psychology degree. So I spent time with each of my children, and we talked about it, but it was a ways ago, right? And we talked about things, and I apologized to every one of my children. I seriously did, because I made mistakes. I really did a good job, though. I really did. They had so much more friends that were able to come over. They had friends that would come and stay for weeks. They were welcomed into my home, and I let them also go to their homes. So I had a lot of issues. My husband was killed in a car accident, so I was a single parent. So I made so many mistakes. And a lot of the two younger ones, I had to kind of ignore a little bit, because I had to work full time, right? We had to put food on the table. So there were a lot of good nuggets out there, though, for them. Oh, yeah. For the infractions, I did apologize. Then what happens, and my friends are telling me the same, they want to come back. Like, you're going to apologize for every decade? You have to apologize for the same things? No. No. I am not going to play that game. I'm done playing the blame game. I'm pulling away from it. I'm not going to participate in it anymore. How about you? What do you think? Leave in comments. What do you think about that? Really, I'll recommend that you get the book, seriously, because there's a lot more, and I don't have time to tell you about it. You've also got the in-laws and the spouses getting in the act and feeding the fuel. How many of you experienced that? Because spouses do talk to each other. They're married. So they're going to, say, oh yeah, when I was young, and this is why, and this happened. Then when the spouses get in on it and they start feeding the fuel, well, your mom or your dad, that was horrible, yeah. And I've actually heard, I have a friend who told me, and I talk about this, when the Gen X, they want to skip a generation. Yeah, they want to blame the boomers, the senior citizens, for things their children are doing. Oh no, you don't. You're not going to skip generations. You're the parent. Deal with it like we're dealing with it, okay? So the book, The Blame Game, When Parenting Goes on Trial. I offer solutions, a lot of them, okay? So that you can pull away, not participate in the game anymore, and still have a really loving relationship with your adult children. Now, who else does this affect? The grandchildren. They hear them wagging in the background, right? About the parents. The grandma did this, and and if there's a bad situation going where the senior citizen, the boomers, we have to pull away from the relationship altogether, because sometimes that's the only thing you can do if they don't stop. You have to just pull away and say, this is toxic to me now. I'm worried about my health. I want to live my life in some peace. But I think the book is going to offer solutions that doesn't have to happen. But if it does happen, look at what the grandkids, they're going to suffer so much from it, right? So yeah, let's be kind to all the generations, and let's all get along. And if you're watching this and you are Gen X or millennial and you've got children, oh, believe me, it's going to happen to you too. You're going to have to deal with this. So it depends on how you handle it is going to have a lot of effect on how it's going to happen to you. So be kind. Be gentle and be kind and learn to forgive. So here's one of the things I'm going to finish up with this is I've seen this lately and I've read this, that your childhood dysfunctions, your family's dysfunctions, your parental dysfunctions that you had to deal with growing up with this family, you had no say in this family, but I believe that he put you there for a reason. He coordinated you with your personality for this family, okay? And they do prove that every child has its own personality no matter what the parents taught them. Because if that was the case, all brothers and sisters would be exactly alike, right? We all have our own personalities. We're born with them. So we can't just blame our parents for every little thing. Okay, but I believe that your dysfunction and things your trauma that you had to go through, those are your challenges. That's what you've been handed. Go out and make something out of it. I had to do that. I had to personally do that. I had my problems. I was a bedwetter, so I had a lot of shame going on. I wasn't hit. I wasn't physically hit, but I had shame going on. But you know what? I had to learn to deal with that. And I didn't go to my parents and then end up shaming them. I didn't lay that on their doorstep. I grew from it. The things that I was handed helped me grow into who I am. Yeah, it made me who I am. And I like who I am. I really do. I am very confident and I like who I am. And I have chosen personally not to play the blame game anymore. Yeah, I think one apology is enough, right? And now it's up to the Gen X and the millennials. I think it's time for them to buck up a little bit and grow and quit thinking so much about childhood drama and things like that, because in civilizations gone by, there was a whole lot of trauma going on and we still made it, right? So my final thought is, hey, seniors, boomers, you deserve peace. You really do. You've been through a lot. We've been through watching our peers and high school buddies killed in a war. They didn't even want to go. We've been through a lot. So let's spend our senior years healthy, emotionally healthy, physically healthy. And I say get the book and learn how to deal with your children, your grown children who are having problems right now, okay? I hope you enjoyed this. It was a long one, wasn't it? But there was a lot to say. And there's so much more in the book. And it's on Amazon. Just type in Minivan Lee and all my books will come up. And yeah, I will see you next time with some other good subject. Next subject, I'm going to talk about the truth. I've been doing research on this. The actual truth. And it's not pretty. It's very disgusting. The truth about low-income housing. What's really going on, trying to find it. What's going on in our society in America. Anyways, about that subject. So, till next time. Good things are coming your way. Good things are coming my way. Right on. Okay? I love you guys. Bye.